What is good people? You are now listening to another episode of Since We Last Spoke with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and today we're joined by an extremely special guest. Man, me and this brother go so far back, like way back. I see you flossing the fresh lineup, man. You ain't fooling nobody. But man, this man's got an amazing story, and we're going to get into all of that, man. It's been a long time since me and this brother got to catch up, so it's an honor and a privilege to be able to do it on this podcast. Actor, realtor, musician, the man, multi-hyphen, the man wears many hats. Ladies and gentlemen, we got my guy Drey Wigfall in the building. Drey, what's good, man?
What's up, Danny, man? What's up, everybody? It's good to see you, Danny. You're right, it's been a minute, man. Goodness, at least, double-digit years now?
Yeah, it's been almost bordering on 20.
Way too long, my friend.
Yeah, time be flying, but hey, we here now. So, first and foremost, Cross, South Carolina. That's where young Andre got his start. So talk to us about how Cross, South Carolina played a role in your maturation process.
Well, man, Cross has always been a part of my life. It's still a huge part of my life today. And just so the viewers at home know, Cross is such a small town. To this day, here at the end of 2024, they still don't have any stoplights. That's how tiny Cross is. But I was born in Cross, South Carolina. Later on, my family went over to Moncks Corner, South Carolina, but Cross is where it all started and where it still basically resonated in my spirit. My granddad, Drey Wigfall Sr., he and some family members and friends started a gospel group. So to this day, the Cross Gospel Four Singers are still alive and kicking. And it just, when I look back on everything, it's a huge blessing, man, because those are my roots.
Word. It's always good to have those roots. So is that how you got your musicianship?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. My Uncle Earl, my Uncle Nate, even my dad played drums for a while. Like my entire family are musicians and singers. I think I'm the only one, Danny, that doesn't sing out of the entire family. But we still have I think every October we have the Cross Gospel 4 anniversary. So groups from all over town come in from Cross and other small towns outside of Cross, and they all celebrate life and celebrate the goodness of God.
Nice. So moving to Moncks Corner, what was that adjustment like for you?
It was interesting, man. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but my family, man, thought it was best that they split. So my mom and dad split up, and that's what landed us in Moncks Corner. My mom worked for many years. I'm sure you heard of Santee Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
The power company. So my mom worked at Santee Cooper, so we moved right around the corner from her job. And from there, I met so many wonderful friends, like a guy named Danny Foxworth. I don't know if y'all ever heard of him.
Man, he ain't nobody.
Nah, he's pretty special. He's pretty awesome, actually. So, yeah, but that's how we ended up in Moncks Corner. Mom wanted to be closer to her job. And also, Moncks Corner is a bigger town than Cross. So the opportunities in Moncks Corner, no knock on Cross, because, again, that's my roots, man. That's my heritage. However, there were more opportunities for us, especially sports and different things like that in Moncks Corner.
So, being that you were in Moncks Corner, you also went to Berkeley High School along with me. So, man, talk about what high school was like for Dréy.
High school was cool, Danny. And I say that from a sense that I had a lot of friends, especially being a football player. I played football and did some acting. It's funny because somebody told me recently that they saw me doing like stuff on NBC now and just different networks. They literally wrote on my Facebook and said, I remember when we were in middle school and high school and you did plays and you transcended the entire play. I appreciate that. I'm humbled by that. But I knew at an early age, being at Berkeley, playing sports, being in acting in the drama team, that God had a special calling for me.
And talk about the football aspect of Berkeley High School. What was that like?
Jerry Brown. Oh, man, Coach Brown was something. excuse me, Dr. Jerry Brown. He was so influential in my life and a lot of our lives that went through Berkeley. I mean, we won championships, 1994, 1996. And I want to say just about every year, man, we were making playoffs. So we were definitely a force to be reckoned with. So huge shout out to all those guys like the JJ McKelveys and I think Rusty Cooper and all those guys, Denario Smalls. Those guys really paved the way for us. But football was great. Unfortunately, I was hurt all the time, Danny, so I couldn't make too much noise. Now, when I was on the field, I remember the last day of my senior year when I was healthy, I had 2 interceptions and some solo tackles, and we played Goose Creek. So I was the defensive player of the week. And after that, you didn't hear much more about Alfre Woodard or Drey Wigfall because I was hurt. I had a bad groin injury. So I was hurt almost the whole season.
Mm.
But the on the field and just the locker room stuff, man, Coach Brown really had us tight. We were a brotherhood for sure.
So the acting part. So what sparked the interest in acting?
Well, I will say this. Like I said earlier, I did some plays earlier, and I even did plays in the church, which New Bethel, big shout out to New Bethel Sounds of Praise. That's where you and I met.
Big shout
And your
out.
family,
Yes,
our
sir.
families.
Yes, sir.
But I would say what sparked the acting, my senior year, I had a professor. I believe his name is Ron Jenkins. Forgive me, Mr. Jenkins, if that's not your name, but I'm pretty sure his name was Ron Jenkins. I had to take theater my senior year in order to get my final credits and graduate.
Okay.
So, of course, being a football player, it made no sense to leave school, go home, and then come back. So Mr. Jenkins knew that. He and I would talk and chop it up a lot after class. And I'll never forget, man, he would hold me after class and he said, listen, Andre, I know you're going to the University of South Carolina. You're going to be a football player. You're playing for Lou Holtz, who's, of course, a legend. If it ever doesn't work out, or if you find it in your heart, please consider studying in their drama department. They have a wonderful theatrical and dance department, and I know that you will make a lot of noise. So huge shout out to Mr. Jenkins, because to me, that wasn't my thought. My thought was, I'm going to be an NFL football player. I know I can ball, but that's not the plans God had for me. So he planted that seed. And when things didn't work out, I'm jumping a little bit, but when things didn't work out with football due to injuries and grades and all that, his words just resonated in my head. So that's what made me make the leap in high school and then later college with regards to theater.
So talk about that adjustment from Berkeley High School to University of South Carolina. What was how difficult was that adjustment?
It was a challenge, and here's why. No knock on Berkeley County education. It wasn't very challenging for me. I could barely study. I could go into class, get B's and A's if I really applied myself. So I was used to taking it easy in the classroom and working my butt off on the football field. Okay, when you get to college, especially Division I in the SEC, sports is a whole nother beast in itself. But then the education, you are held at a certain standard that you have to meet certain requirements. And the coaches all know your grades. They know your grades before you do, Danny. They even have coaches that come into the classes to make sure that your butt is in the seat on time. Study halls. So the biggest challenge for me was, yes, on the field, because everybody's running a 4.3 and a 4.4 40. I was running a 4.5, 4.6 in high school. So that's definitely a big adjustment. But then in the classroom, actually having to study, retain it, and get a lot more help than what I was used to. That was the biggest challenge for sure.
So talk about what it was like playing for Lou Holtz.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Here's a quick story. I remember one time I just got kicked out of practice. I was like the scout team hero because I had walked on. Again, I was hurt a lot in high school. So when I got to Carolina, big shout out to Coach Brown. He wrote a personal note to Lou Holtz on my behalf. Great student, great athlete, wonderful human being that loves the Lord. He's going to be a force on your team. And I'll never forget, man, one day when I got kicked out of practice for actually trying too hard. That was our assistant coach. I don't remember his name. If I knew it, I wouldn't say it because I don't want to embarrass him. But he literally saw me. He called it showboating. I'm trying to get up off the scout team and earn my scholarship. That was my mindset.
Right.
So he literally came over and said, man, look, you're doing too much, man. Get out. Go on the sideline. And I'll never forget, some of our older scholarship players came over to him in front of me and was like, why would you kick him out when he's doing his best and he's actually giving us a good look for game day? And he didn't have a response to it. But right after that, man, Lou Holtz came over. And I didn't even know he knew my name. But he came over and said, oh, Wigfall, you've been doing some really good things. Keep it up. We're going to get you some playing time. Danny, in that moment, my entire world changed. I was like, A, he knows my name. B, he's actually acknowledging that he sees my sacrifice on this field. Because I was battling through injuries. I had two knee surgeries, tendonitis in both my knees. It was hard to walk sometimes, much less make a play on the field. Yep.
Wow. Man, so then when the football playing days came to an end, and then basically the drama, you passed the drama passed the baton to you, and you took off running. So talk about how you got immersed into the drama department at USC.
Sure. So again, Coach Jenkins is always in the back of my mind. One day, this is right after my coach called me in the office. My DB coach called me in because I play defensive back, so DB, and said, "Hey, your grades are borderline not good enough to even be in school anymore. One more bad semester, and you're on academic suspension." That was a reality check for me. Wasn't that I couldn't ball. It was, okay, you're battling through injuries and your grades, pretty soon you won't even be a student here at University of South Carolina. So I had to make a decision. I chose to go ahead and walk away. And coach thought that was the best decision for now. He said, feel free to come back when your grades get up. But then I always remembered Coach Jenkins saying, hey, football doesn't work out. Why not try drama? You'll be great at it. Right around this time, I was playing at a small church right off campus, and a lady named Jackie walked up to me. She was doing plays like Tyler Perry back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, hey, we've never met. My name's Jackie. I'm looking for a character. I write plays like Tyler Perry and we travel. His name is Dréy, and he does this and does that. And I said, wait a minute, stop. This has got to be a joke. My name is Dréy. And she's like, are you serious? We never met. So that is how actually I got back into acting. I started traveling with them and doing plays, and we were traveling from city to city throughout the Low Country. And then switched majors at the University of South Carolina and ended up being cast in several main stage productions and professional theater that took place right there in Columbia. So that's what got me back into theater and acting.
Wow. So what was your original major?
It was computer science.
Okay.
Yeah, computer science. And Danny, when I tell you I tried, I would not only study, do everything at the end of the workbook, I would even go in and see the actual professor. When I tell you that it just was not for me, that was not my calling. I could do everything at home. And then when it's time to go and take the exam, it was like a foreign language. Just wasn't meant to be, man.
A lot of math?
Not so much. It's just the understanding of how the different concepts tie in together. I've never been a book person so much. As far as you give me a situation in life, I'll figure it out. And it's interesting because some of the things that I couldn't do in class and I was flunking out of the computer science major, I was actually showing back at home at Santee Cooper over the summers. I would work in the computer department, audit department. I was teaching those guys. This is their career. I'm teaching them how to do the systems and streamline it. The same thing that I'm flunking out of college for.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how my world, I just knew that it was time to get out of there. So fast forward a little bit more, got a big opportunity. There was a guy named Antoine Neesmith. Remember him from Walterboro?
Absolutely. Played a running back.
Such a great person. When I tell you this guy has a heart of God, just such a great dude. So big shout out to Antoine Neesmith, man. But he had just graduated. He was trying out for the league, but at that time, it was a movie that was coming to town being filmed in Walterboro called Radio. You remember that?
I do.
So Radio was starring Cuba Gooding Jr., Ed Harris, and Alfre Woodard. Those were the three big names. Antoine comes up to me one day in the gym. He was like, hey, man, I know you're not playing ball anymore. You're still recovering, but there's a movie, man, that I'm going to be a part of and some of our guys from the team. Now, keep in mind, if you ever want to go back to sports, you can't. Once you sign that waiver and you've done, a professional movie as a football player, you can't go back. So I said, all right, cool. I'm in theater. So I tried out and I made it on the very last day. It probably was 400 or 500 guys out there, man, just from all over trying out for this movie. And I wasn't cleared yet because I had another knee surgery. So got cleared, came in. Danny, when I tell you favor, there was a guy named Kyle Wren, I believe is his name. He went to the producers because he was working the crew. So he went to the producers and said, look, Drey's one of the USC guys. We want to give him a shot. So on the last day, man, I got it. Me, Antoine, and a few of my other friends from the University of South Carolina, I think it was maybe 6 or 8 of us, all made the final cut. That crap was hard. we probably trained for about a month on just conditioning and actually the choreography. Then we filmed for another month. And this is a period piece. So this is back, I think, in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
They didn't have the same technology and warmers and all that. So we're out in, I think, December filming like it's actually late August or something like that. So it's supposed to be hot. We can't wear sweaters or anything. It was cold, bro.
Oh, man.
But
I can only imagine.
Exactly. But that was my two worlds coming together as far as, all right, you played sports. now you're actually playing sports in a film and doing theater. So that's when my two worlds came together. And it was beautiful, man.
Man, and then I imagine you had to be completely bitten by the bug at that point.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, the biggest challenge, and again, this is our Heavenly Father's favor. I told you earlier that I was borderline flunking out of school. I went to those same professors and said, look, I got an opportunity of a lifetime. I'm playing in a movie with Cuba Gooding Jr., Ed Harris. Can I please make up the work later? I'm in the middle of switching majors to theater, doing the movie, and trying not to flunk out. And they all said yes. So once the film was done, I was able to pile 2 semesters together. So I was taking 7 or 8 classes at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, that is, I tell you what, man, that is like, you should teach a master class in time management.
No. Somebody should teach Dréy a master class because I'm horrible. Thank God for my beautiful wife at home, man, because she definitely helps me out a lot.
Word. So, after college, what was the next move?
The next move was actually me telling my then girlfriend, my destiny is to move to California and to be a part of Hollywood and to make a change and to make a name for God's kingdom in Hollywood. So that's still happening, of course, to this day. But I want to say about a year and a half to 2 years after I graduated, I went ahead, I packed up my suitcase and I moved to LA. Again, I keep using that word favor, and I'm thanking my mom back at home. Ma, I love you. She never told me I couldn't do it. She always said, get your lesson and you can do anything you want to do. Just keep God first. Pray about it and keep him first. So I knew I had her prayers. Moving to LA, I had maybe $800 in my pocket, and a buddy of mine from the football team had already moved to LA. Again, just like I ran into Antoine after football, I ran into him after football. And he said, hey, Dréy, I'm moving to California. If you ever need anything, man, here's my number. Hit me up. His name is Felipe Holiday. We call him Flip. So about a month before I was ready to move, I hit him up. I said, look, man, I don't got a place, but if your offer is still good, I want in. Can you provide me a place to stay until I get on my feet? Danny, when I tell you favor, his brother had just moved out. So he was looking for a roommate. So when I hit him up, he was like, man, perfect timing. Come on, I got you.
Wow.
I was there for one day when he came into the room the next day and said, look, man, we got this little audition for this new show. It's called Your Mama. It's going to be on MTV. And I'm like, Your Mama? That's strange. So he was like, yeah, why don't you come? I know you're fresh into town, but come on in tomorrow with us to the callback and just kind of watch how we do auditions here in Cali. So I went. And lo and behold, man, one of the producers walks up to me and says, hey, are you here for the callback? And I said, nah, I'm just supporting my guys. And she said, well, do you have jokes? And I'm like, I could be funny, a little something. So sure enough, they signed me up, I auditioned, and I booked it. So I was literally in California for 24 hours when I booked my first network TV show called Your Mama on MTV.
Man, that's crazy.
Exactly. I don't even want to call it being in the right place at the right time. I'm just calling it just listening, man. You got to listen, especially growing up the way we grew up with parents in the church and always praying for us. It would have been silly for me not to hear the voices and see the path that he had me on at an early age. So all I did was listen.
You listened and you applied.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's really that simple.
Yeah, it is. My grandma says it all the time, but it's a scripture she always says about God's ways are so plain, even a fool could follow. You don't have to complicate it. So a lot of times we think too much about it. And my other grandma would always say, and this is my grandma on my mom's side, Pastor Apostle Joyce Gordon. She would always say that you don't have to add more to certain prayers. Like the Heavenly Father prayer is all that we need. So I'm not on here to preach or anything like that, but just hearing my mom and my grandmas instill that inside me, I knew I had everything I need to be successful. I just had to do the work.
There you go.
Yep.
And also, you also had had an opportunity to act alongside Taye Diggs, which I actually watched that. I watched her come back on Tubi last week.
That's what's up. Did you enjoy it?
I did.
Man, was it funny?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
You was there at the news desk. I was like, oh, there go Dréy.
Yep. So here's big shout out to my best friend. His name is Ezariah Oldecker. Remember that name. He is an up and coming cinematographer, and this guy he's solid, man. I remember one day sitting down in my living room at my house, and Raya, I call him Raya, said, "You're way too talented not to be on film and television all the time. If Hollywood won't get you that opportunity now, we'll create it right now." And he started writing scripts with me as the lead character. We did a few of those. The way that Taye Diggs came along was actually from one of those movies. We did a short film with Azariah, and I met the director, a young lady named Ariel Hairston. She's phenomenal too, by the way. But Ariel and Raya took my information, my demo reel, my resume to the producers of the Taye Diggs film and said, "Look, we want him in there." And they were like, "Well, we could go this route, this route." And they said, "No, no, 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 no. We want Drey. Here's a copy of some of his work." And the minute they saw it, they said, "You know what? He's in. He is in." Now, I'm not saying they just gave me the opportunity. That came from the other work that I have done. I ended up not even having to read for it because of the relationship that we had and the work I had already done.
Man, that's all right. So what was it like to finally meet Taye Diggs?
Amazing. And I say amazing because people always say, even on the football team at Carolina, they would call me Drey Wiggs because everybody always says I look so much like Taye Diggs. Honestly, Danny, I left it in God's hands. I was like, there's no way they're going to cast me in a film alongside him if we really look that much alike. Even my buddy Raya called a few times and said, "Drey, you and Taye act just alike. Like, not even like acting, but just y'all personality and mannerisms. Y'all the same person." So with that being said, when they cast me and I finally got to meet him, it was a dream come true. It was surreal because I'm thinking about The Best Man. I'm thinking about how Stella got her groove back. I'm thinking about all these films he did when he played the role Drey in what's that movie?
Brown Sugar. That's
right. So all these characters that he played is coming back to my mind, and I'm like, this is a living human being. Here's a funny story real quick. Two of them, actually. So Taye was walking through the hall, and my manager literally saw him from behind, thought he was me. So she walked up to him, "Hey, Drey, do you need anything else?" And he turned around, and she was like, "Oh, my gosh, I'm so sorry. I got y'all mixed up. I thought you were Drey." So I'm like, dang, that's crazy. That is crazy. But on set, when I really got to do my bread and butter scene, you remember the scene where I'm crying in the film?
Yes.
So Taye is giving this long monologue. If you hadn't seen The Comeback, y'all got to go check it out. It's a great film, seriously. So Taye's giving this monologue, appreciate that, to his wife about they can have more kids and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to ruin it. And in that moment, Taye stops and he looks over around his wife and sees me and he's like, "My man." He's crying, "My man." That wasn't in the script, Danny. I went to Ariel earlier that day when she asked what were my thoughts, because she know I did the character development as I always do. We worked together before. She knows that I commit as I should. And when I told her maybe my character would cry because I know it's a comedy, we can play against what's really happening in the scene. And she looked at me, she's like, "Really?" She kept it in the back of her mind. So after we did a few takes, she came to me in privacy and was just like, "Hey, Drey, remember that thing you talked about earlier? Can you do it? Do you need a second to kind of work that up?" I said, "Nah, Ariel, I just need you to say action." So the minute she said action, it was on. It shocked the entire set. When she said cut, Taye and everybody were just like erupting in cheers because it was so different and it really leveled up the entire production, man. So I'm thankful I could be a small piece of that.
So how were you able to develop that crying muscle?
Ever heard of a guy named Rodney Cephas from Berkeley?
Yeah, I know Rodney Cephas.
Rodney's my homeboy, man. We grew up in the same neighborhood. He and I were in that drama class together, Mr. Jenkins.
Shout out First St. John's.
I know that's right. My man, you're right. So Rodney and I would always sit in the back of the class and we would literally say, "Okay, you cry. No, you cry. No, you cry." And we would literally not necessarily time each other, but see who could work that muscle the quickest. So, man, I did not know that to this day, it's a lot of shows and movies that I've been on. I ended up having to do that. And do you know how grateful a director and the producers are when they don't have to wait on you to get there, when you can literally flip a switch and be there in a heartbeat? Saves them time and money.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Rodney because, again, the favor of in those moments when we were doing that, I never fathomed that that's what I would be doing as a career now, like in Hollywood and on NBC and Warner Brothers and stuff like that.
Nice. So what other upcoming projects do you have? I know there's one in this I said the bow is still on the package right now.
Yeah, the bow's on the package. Yep.
Yeah, but just talk a little bit about, without fully divulging what what the new
Sure.
project is.
There's a very popular show out on NBC right now. I'll just say the story is about a young lady getting kidnapped when she was younger. Now that she's older, she kidnapped her kidnapper. And so now the world gets to watch how that plays out. How crazy is that? Somebody
Wow.
kidnapped you, you're older, and now you have the power. Because that's really what TV and movies about. Who has the power? What are they going to do with the power? When is it going to shift? So you see that dynamic between them. And I got to play on that show. It'll be coming out in January. So about middle of January. So follow me on social media. We'll talk about that in a second. But it was phenomenal, man. And I will say this, it's going to be a very, 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 very tense episode. And I'll leave it at that. So get your popcorn ready and get your tissues ready.
Okay. And also, just curious, how did you and your wife meet?
All right. So my wife, Renee, such a sweetheart, man. We met on the very last day of my senior year of college. It was like the very last day that the outdoor spaces were open for eating. A place called Gibbs Court. Danny, I'm usually not on this side of campus, and she's usually not on this side of campus at all. I was in the French tutoring lab, and when I got done, I said, I'm gonna go to this building and grab a soda. And when I walked out of the building for the French tutoring lab, I could feel somebody, you feel somebody looking at you?
Yeah.
Man, I looked over, it was some heat coming. I looked over and I'm like, oh my gosh, who is this? Bro, when I tell you I wasn't just thirsty for soda at that time, it was a complete shift in the atmosphere. I'm just saying. But now I was like, okay, I've never seen her before, but I got to get to know who she is. So I walk out of the building, and a quick backstory to it. I was playing at a church over the summer, and a bishop, a well-known bishop in the area, had prophesied who my wife was going to be. And it was so clear that how special and dynamic she would be in my life. When I met my wife, I didn't immediately think about the bishop's word and the prophecy. I just thought, man, there's something different about her. So I walk up to her. After I get my soda, I said, all right, I got my thirst quench there. Let me see if I can do the other one. This flame. I love you, baby. I'm just messing. So I walk up to her and I said, I don't know what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say something. I get to her and I'm like, what did I say? Excuse me, do I know you from somewhere? And in that moment, I was like, man, that's the stupidest thing. This chick is either going to slap you or she's going to turn and walk away. She didn't do either. She literally was like, I don't think so. But my name is Renee Washington. And she gave me the most firm handshake. And in that moment, so many things started going through my head. Like, okay, I got to get to know you. You're very different. Man, the rest is history. When I tell you that this woman loves unconditionally, she's the only girl that I would ever go see. And no knock on any friends that I may have had growing up or anything. Every time I saw her, she was at the end of study time with the Lord. She'd have her Bible open, her commentary open, highlights, the music playing as meditation music in the background. And that is what really made me think that this is the one that the bishop told me about. So she actually graduated a couple of years after me, moved out to LA when we got married. And then now we moved here to Atlanta. And when I tell you she's been the heartbeat of everything I can ever imagine in a spouse, that and then some. Beautiful mother, everything, man. But we met in college.
Man, that's awesome. I love this. I love this.
I was thirsty.
Man, so now we're going to get into the 5-question segment. So the first and last question are the same question I ask every guest I have on here. Questions 2 through 4 are 100% random. So question number 1, what would Drey's go-to school lunch items?
School lunch items. I would say the little pizzas, those little stale pizzas and French fries. Yeah, I eat them all the time with the chocolate milk.
Yeah, you can't. They really had us eating pizza and fries with chocolate milk at like 11 in the morning.
Exactly. I would never do that today. And my kids will never do it either.
I look at that stuff sometimes. I'm like, boy, only to be 18 again. I couldn't do that again.
Hey, but life was so much easier, right?
Man, and metabolism was so much higher.
I'm telling you, every bit of cut or whatever or ab I have left is because I work 3 times as hard now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, my metabolism just got up and left. But question number 2, who was your favorite high school teacher?
I would have to say Mr. Jenkins, man. And part of that is because, Danny, what he instilled inside of me, he was so patient and never pushy. He's a huge reason, just letting God use him and speak through him. I didn't know he's a minister. Now I know that. But he influenced me in ways that other teachers just didn't. So yeah, Mr. Jenkins,
There you
my
go.
drama professor.
Question number 3. What's your dream car?
A Tesla. Like one of the sporty Teslas. If you leave it to my son, he says Cybertruck, but I got a special thing for Teslas, man. So I'm pretty sure I'll get one soon if my wife lets me.
Word. Man, yeah, I always had the 96 Impala SS has always had my heart.
Ooh. Hey, my uncle has one, man, and that thing is fast. His is fully decked out too. Yeah. He got like a special limited edition one. You can hear him coming from a mile away, man. He is like, I can't remember the year of it. It's one of the newer ones, but it's special, man.
Oh man. Question number 4. This one is on the fly. What's your morning routine?
Okay. Usually waking up super early before everybody. I'm doing a lot of calisthenics. I love when I do exercise, Danny, because it allows me to focus and not only think about my day, but meditate and pray. It's a lot of noise going on around me. So I always get up early in the morning and I meditate, focus, and I work out.
Yep. Man, that's a great way to start your day right there. Mm-hmm. What's the breakfast situation looking like?
A lot of times I'm doing intermittent fasting. That's what I'm doing now. But when we do eat, man, Renee's usually really good because we have a 4-year-old and soon to be 6-year-old boys. So she's always making sure we eat. When I do eat, I'll usually eat it after my fast is over. We do steel cut oats, or either like the true oats, like so not just the oatmeal you buy in the packs, but the kind you got to put on the pot and boil and all that stuff.
Yeah.
With a little bit of maple syrup and cinnamon.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good eating. That's almost similar to my breakfast I have every morning. I do the steel cut oats. I usually do like the raw honey and I'll add some blueberries in there.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, the fruit. We do the fruit too, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'll have the beets and I'll just put some beets in the juicer and have that every morning. And I'll be the first to admit beet juice is an extremely acquired taste.
It is.
It takes a long time to get used to, but that's my daily routine.
Bro, that's like that in cold showers. Like I take a lot of cold showers.
I ain't at that level yet, but
hey, listen, we traveled to Colombia some years ago, the country of Colombia, and man, it changed my perception on things, man. But I also read that there's a lot of health advantages to it as well, as far as like your pores not being open too long, keeping your skin, which I'm still working on here, looking healthy and fresh. So it's a lot of advantages. Plus, there's a lot of discipline behind that. So I literally read the thought process, and I started doing that probably about 3 weeks ago now.
Okay.
Yep. But shout out to you and that beet juice, bro. I mean, I don't know if I can get on that one yet.
Yeah, I've been diligent with the beet juice probably since 2020. So yeah, that's it's habit at this point. So
good stuff, bro. Good stuff.
Yeah. Then last question: what was the last thing that really made you laugh?
Oh man, I'd probably say my wife. Like people don't know this about her because she's so sweet and so nice. She's one of like the leads of like the ushers of our church and all that stuff. The hospitality community. She's so funny. Like she could take a situation and have such like not a dry humor, but she's so sweet. So you don't think that she's really like roasting you. Man, this chick be roasting me all the time, man. So I'm not gonna say what she said, but we were dying laughing like two little school kids the other day, man. So that was the funniest thing that that really made me laugh recently. Her humor.
Dope. So man, plug your stuff. Tell the people where they can find you.
All right, good people. I appreciate your time, your opportunity. The opportunity here, I would say social media, Drey Wigfall. That's my Facebook. And then Instagram would be I am Drey Wigfall. And that's Drey with a Y. So it's Drey Wigfall. And definitely stay tuned in because there's some big things on the horizon. If you guys ever need Orkin, I'm actually on the front page of Orkin.com for pest control. I did a huge campaign with them.
No kidding.
Blue Cross Blue Shield as a commercials airing right now. I'm the Blue Cross Blue Shield guy, the fitness guy on there for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Alabama. And then just a lot of other platforms. So just check me out. Follow me on Facebook and also Instagram. I am Drey Wigfall.
Word, man. Drey, thank you so much for being on. This is always a pleasure.
Man, you
Always
too,
a
man.
pleasure.
Thank you for catching up and thank you for having me, man. This is special, bro. And I
Absolutely.
appreciate what you're doing. Keep going, man. Like
Yes,
I know
sir.
we all have challenges with things. It's not that you told me any challenges. It's just anything in life we want, it's expected to have some type of challenge. So I want to, challenge you just to keep going. And if you ever need anything from Dre, just let me know.
Greatly appreciated, man. Likewise.
Yeah, man.
And thank y'all for listening. Make sure y'all like, download, and subscribe to Since We Last Spoke with Danny Foxworth. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can find me at Danny Foxworth 843. There you can find the videos for all the episodes for this podcast, as well as my baseball podcast, At the Plate with Danny Foxworth, my Candle podcast, A Wicked Good Time, which I dropped an episode with my mom earlier, about a few days ago. Make sure y'all check that out. And then I have a scheduled episode coming up called with a Growing Up Low Country with Liz and Danny with my very longest tenured friend ever in life, Liz Rennie, and we're talking about all things low country. And we got a special guest, Berkeley High. Micah Griggs is going to be my guest for that episode. So make sure y'all tune into that. That'll drop next week. And for Dre and myself, this has been another episode of Since We Last Spoke. And until next time, y'all be good. Peace.